How you doing? So these are my top picks for the best option for the next incursion event. So keep in mind, this is I believe only for Sector 7. It's called the Saga Sector. You can only use tags with X Magica and Magica Teep. So I thought about using a clickbait title saying these are the best options for the next Saga Sector event for incursion, but that's when it comes to best options, I think it could be subjective. Everybody has different opinion on that. That's why instead of saying top five or best option for incursion, I'm just gonna put the title as these are my picks when it comes to best option for the Saga sector. Like I don't want to use some clickbait like some YouTubers profile saying that Hercules is nerf. They found a way to nerf Hercules in incursion, but that's completely false. You just cannot use them for Saga sector, or you can also say it's Sector 7. I think you could use them in lower sectors like Sector 6 and below. And I want to, like I said, repeat again, best opinion when it comes to incursion, it can be subjective. That's why I'm just saying it's my picks if I want to use for the Saga sector, and really you shouldn't have to rely on other people's opinion when it comes to best champion in the game. You should just play the game and learn who the best champions are because everybody has different opinion. Like last year, more than a year ago, I would say that I told Karate Mike that without a doubt, Angela is the best champion in incursion, and he thought I was crazy. Some other person felt the same as well, and like I don't care. And then people start to slowly realize that Angela is the best option in incursion. I know Sweden made a video on it, I think, as well as Dooley Ray. So everybody has different opinion who are the best options in the game. So try to like play the game, decide on your own who do you think the best options are. Just don't rely on other YouTubers to always think about, oh, I have to use this champion because this YouTuber told me to. That's not always the way, how the that's not the way the game should work. You should like learn to play the game and try to figure out who the best options are. And like I said, when it comes to incursion especially, but in the game in general, but you know, like best champion in incursion is very subjective because I think a lot of people, I would even say most people that goes to incursion only goes to zone 25. And then, for me, I don't care about rewards, you know, like I go past zone 25. If you follow my channel, you would know. And, uh, you know, if you go past zone 25, there's at least three champions better than Hercules in incursion. And it's not even close, and the sad part is, since most people only play for rewards, they will never know who these three champions are that are better than Hercules. Let me just give you one of them, and it's Hela. If you understand how Hela works with Odin synergy, you would realize Hela is just a broken version of Hercules. She is better than Hercules in almost every way, in incursion. But people would never realize this because most of them only go to play for rewards, which is only for zone 25. Keep in mind there's unlimited sectors in unlimited zones in incursion, I believe. We don't know how many zones there are. There's infinite because you can't count them. So when it comes to Hela, even without hack, she's gonna be really good for incursion, because of Odin's synergy. And she could actually solo the most fights in MCOC because when it comes to incursion, she has there is unlimited fights. There's unlimited zones. There's finite, not finite, um, infinite zones that we know of. So that's why I said it could be very subjective when it comes to like best option for incursion because a lot of people only go to zone 25. But for me, these are my picks when it comes to best option for incursion. If you've seen my channel, you know I use Colossus with Professor X. He's gonna be really good. He's gonna be damage mastery friendly as well because he's gonna be With Professor X with 4 charges, it becomes 72% poison resistant, and plus he's gonna get 100% special attack bonus. So it's gonna be pretty good for uh, incursion. Silver Surfer, I think he's a good option. I wouldn't say he's the best, but I think he would be a good option with buff cornucopia. Who else? Gambit is good incursion, but only with Apocalypse synergy. But you cannot bring Apocalypse synergy. Keep that in mind. Who else? I think most people already know Corvus Glaive is good for incursion, so I'm gonna say best hacks for Corvus Glaive, buff cornucopia, perpetual offense, keep it going, and attribute boost. So those are the best hacks to use for Corvus Glaive. So let me repeat it again: buff cornucopia, perpetual offense, keep it going, and attribute boost. And then when you have the cosmic boost, he's gonna do really a lot of contents. And the higher the rank Corvus you have, the better he will be in incursion, because you want him to finish fights without running out of charges. And Sunspot, I think, is also a good option for the next Saga Sector event with Compounding Harm, Tide of Combat, Buff Cornucopia, and Perpetual Offense. So he's not damage mastery friendly when it comes to Sunspot like Corvus is. Corvus is damage mastery friendly. So if you're gonna use Sunspot, especially with damage mastery friendly, with damage mastery, you want to have buff cornucopia for sure. You can also bring in Colossus and Professor X, make him 72% poison resistant, so he's gonna become damage mastery friendly. So keep that in mind. I think Black Widow could be good for incursion. I don't really use her, so I'm not really sure. Same thing with Odin. I think he could be good, but I don't use Odin, so I'm not exactly sure on Odin as well. It's funny they have Odin here, but they don't have Angela or Hela to be able to use for the Saga Sector, which doesn't make sense. I really wish they would use be able to use Angela or Hela in the next incursion event. People would start to wake up and realize how good they are in incursion. When it comes to who else, I think Strife too, but you do need to ramp him up, especially if you have him unawakened. Could be pretty decent. I don't really use him, so maybe he will be. I'm not really sure how good he will be. Who else? Namor could be good in incursion. I'm not really sure exactly how good he will be. Red Goblin could be good as well, but usually Red Goblin is great with the Null synergy. I'm not sure if you could use Null for the next event, but I think you could. I don't see him here though, so don't quote me on that. Who else? Adam Warlock. I think he's gonna be really good for the next event. So best hacks for Adam Warlock. So buff cornucopia, toxic advancement, compounding harm, and keep it going. So let me repeat again: buff cornucopia, toxic advancement, compounding harm, and keep it going. Those are the best hacks for Adam Warlock. Who else? Cersei, I think she's gonna be okay. I don't think she's the best option, but she's really good with the Captain America synergy. What else? But you can't bring Captain America, so I think she's just gonna be okay. She's not gonna be great for it, Nightcrawler, I think he's gonna be one of the best option for incursion. So let me just give you best hacks for Nightcrawler. Hemostatic charge is the best option for hacks when it comes to Nightcrawler. You can also, and the second best option for hacks is Tide of Combat, but keep in mind you want to have hemostatic charge with Tide of Combat, or you can also use hemostatic with special counter. Keep in mind you need to have hemostatic charge for those two other hacks to become very powerful. You can also have them also together and would keep it going. But keep in mind, if you run into like Colossus or something like that, there goes like 99% of your damage, because he's bleed immune, armor break immune. So I wouldn't combine all those hacks exactly. because you won't really need it, because especially if you're only going to zone 25, you're not going to need to do like 5 million damage, which Nightcrawler can do depending on how high rank you have. But with those 4 hacks, he's going to hit like a truck. But then you run into some bleed immune, especially as well as armor break immune champion. There goes pretty much all your damage. So if I would say best option for Nightcrawler, I would say that Hemostatic Charge is a must have. That's the best hack he can have. And Tide of Combat, Keep It Going, and Strategic Movement. Agent Venom, I think it's going to be a good option too with Craven on the team, but keep in mind you cannot bring Scorpion as. So I don't think he's going to be like very, very good for Incursion, but I think he's going to be okay. And Bullseye. A lot of people I could see using Bullseye for the next Saga Sector. He's going to be really good with Hemostatic Charge, Tide of Combat, pretty much same as Nightcrawler, Special Counter, and Keep It Going. If you want him to hit like a truck, those are the 4 best hacks, but then that's like putting all your damage in one basket. If you run into Colossus, that is just end of the run for you, because obviously it would cost advantage as well, but he's armor break immune, bleed immune. So like I mentioned, if you want him to hit like a truck, pick those hacks. But if you want the best hacks for Bullseye to counter bleed immune champions, I would go with Hemostatic Charge, Keep It Going, Tide of Combat, and Strategic Movement. Really, especially with Bullseye, his hits is guaranteed critical hits. So with Keep It Going and Strategic Movement, you just get hit to your 9-hit combo, build Strategic Movement by dexting or by blocking. But I would prefer dexting, because you do, later zones, their attack is so high that you take a lot of damage just from blocks. But he's going to do a lot of damage when it comes to Bullseye with Keep It Going and Strategic Movement. I think Gladiator is going to be really OP. I would maybe even say arguably broken with the new hacks that they came out. I don't know if it's just for the Saga Sector event, but the new hacks they came out, it's going to be really OP when it comes to Gladiator. I think he's going to be, a lot of people will use him for next event. And Kate Bishop, I think, is also going to be good for Saga Sector, but assuming that you know how to use her. Kushala, I'm not sure how good she will be, but I think she's going to be good for incursions. Same thing with Scarlet Witch, with Buff Cornucopia. The Destroyer and the Serpent, I think they're going to be okay. I think especially Destroyer, I think Destroyer is going to be a good option for the Saga Sector. Best hack for the Destroyer is going to be Buff Cornucopia, Professional Offense, Tide of Combat, and Draining Legion. Okay, so I would say like you can probably get rid of Tide of Combat, and Keep It Going. So let me just repeat again. Tide of Combat is okay, but I think Keep It Going is better. So let me say again: Buff Cornucopia, Perpetual Offense, Keep It Going, and Draining Legion. Those are the best options for Destroyer. I think he's gonna be great for incursions. I don't know if Serpent is gonna be great for incursion, but I think he's gonna be okay. Maybe even good for incursion. You pretty much use the same hacks. Buff Cornucopia, Keep It Going, Professional Offense, and Draining Legion. I think some of you already know Ting is good in incursion. Strategic Movement is really good for Ting. So if you want to use Ting for incursion, Strategic Movement, Keep It Going, those are the best hacks for him. So let me repeat again for Colossus. I don't think I mentioned, best hacks for Colossus. And I pretty much use the same hacks for a lot of champions with armor up buffs. I use it with Angela, is Buff Cornucopia, Tide of Combat, Keep It Going, and Defense Cascade. Those are the best hacks for Colossus. I think a lot of people are going to start to realize Colossus is good for incursion, because he hits pretty hard, but he's going to be a tank too with all his armor up buffs. So you're going to be able to, tank SP3s in later zones, but that's also depend on how high your how high a rank your Colossus is. So yeah, these are the best options in my opinion for the next Saga Sector event. Thank you.